Thanks for tuning into the Urban Scope podcast. Today I'm back with another rewind edition of my podcast, and today I will be rewinding Rick Ross's Teflon Don. Now, this is Rick Ross's best project, I believe, in my opinion, and that goes as far as lyricism and production. Now, this album, like I said, came out around 2010. So, this wasn't his first album because, he hit the Port of Miami. This was like, I believe, his third or fourth album, but this is easily my favorite album from him and my favorite album of 2010. Now, in 2010, there were a lot of great albums from hip hop that came out. Just to name a few, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy from Kanye West, Thank Me Later by Drake, Man on the Moon 3 from Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon 2 from Kid Cudi, Trilogy from Bon B, Pink Friday from Nicki Minaj, and Eminem's Recovery album, which I like, one of my favorite Eminem albums as well. But it was unique that he dropped this album and was able to stand the test with other albums in on this time because Drake and Nicki Minaj released their solo debut projects on Young Money during this time. Very great albums. I know people are going to say Drake is their probably favorite album from 2010, that Thank Me Later album, or they're going to say, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is their favorite album. Now, that's definitely an argument, but, this album was pure hip hop and pure rap, and it was short and concise to the point. Now, this album didn't have had commercial appeal to it, but at the same time, it was, it felt like a lot of B-sides, but they were classic. A lot of great rapping, a lot of great subject matter, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But like I said earlier, Rick Ross held his own back in 2010 when all those great albums came out, and he always pretty much holds his own, except for a couple of albums, maybe the two albums after this one I didn't really care for as much. But he always put great projects together, very thoughtful, great. The production and the lyrics always go hand in hand. It seems like he's great at beat selection and things like that. So you always have to commend artists that not only just great artists, but great A&Rs as well. And, being able to do different things like a Jay-Z, you got your Rick Ross's 50 Cents and other artists like that who Kanye West definitely, they put together these projects and they're able to make production fit with the songs, because we know if the production is not right, then the lyrics sometimes get crossed over and vice versa. So, but as far as the album goes, I'm Not a Star, the intro, considered the intro, it wasn't a strong start, but this is one of those rare occasions where the album is so good you really don't necessarily need an excellent intro to start off. You can just pretty much have music playing in the intro with no words behind it, and it could have did the job, because the rest of the album was just so great. It was only 11 tracks, and there's pretty much no skips on this album. Songs like BMF and MC Hammer, especially BMF, is a legendary song that's highlighting the former crime organization. And these songs sounded similar because they were produced by the same person, which is Lex Luger. Every time I listen to these songs, I never know which is which until he starts rapping it, because, like I said, the songs are very similar. Not my favorite on the albums, but they did have a lot of commercial success, and these are probably the most popular songs on the album. But like I said, this song was about the B-sides. It wasn't really about what was on the radio, what videos came out. This was something totally different. So you have to commend an album like that has great B-sides, because that makes the great artist, I believe. But my favorite song on the album is All the Money in the World with Raphael Sadiq. Raphael Sadiq has this unique singing voice. He has unique style when it comes to singing. He's more old school, but he's a great writer as well as a great artist as well. But Rick Ross just nailed home that he's about his team, and he always talks about how he's about his team and how he pays people before he gets paid, and never try to cheat anyone, because every penny that you deserve, you should get. And he always bigged up his team for that, which he's talked about in several interviews about, being a team player and things like that. So in this song, he said, it's a lot. I put my last name first because it's about my family opposed to about myself, and put my first name first. But this song was all about, about being, for being a people person and just being for the world. And, he talked about how he wouldn't trade all the money in the world for his kids, his parents, and his family, in general. So he showed a lot of maturity on this, but he's always been a mature artist because he started off a little bit older. So even though he started off in the game younger, but when he became successful, he's a little bit older. So he saw the world a little bit differently than, artists coming in at 18, 19, 16 years old. He's seeing it from a world view and, seeing how the business has come up and how people have got, done wrong and how contracts are made and things like that. So he wanted to give people an even shake, treat people like the way he wanted to be treated. So, but he showed a different side, from the regular braggadocio style on this one. He had elements of that and shades of that on here, but it wasn't the general theme. This album was just him just showing that he was invincible as far as rap, hence the name Teflon Don. Live Fast, Die Young, which is a Kanye West produced track. Very good production, unique sounds. Like I said, this was prime Kanye. I don't know, he had just the production was crazy. I haven't heard a beat like that yet. So, and then of course Rick Ross's superb lyricism on this song just nailed everything home. So, he's one of the top rappers, lyrically in the game. Aston Martin music, which I said, MC Hammer and BMF were the most popular songs, but I take that back because Aston Martin music was pretty major because it had Drake during his prime time years and Chrisette Michelle as well on his Justice League produced track. They were able to bring everything together and it sounded so amazing. And it's one of those songs you can listen to probably 20 times in a row. Very great lyricism and just very successful crossover hit. And it's an underrated duo of Rick Ross and Justice League. They're always producing great music and they don't leave anything left for you to see. You never say, well, what if they would have did this? But they always come out with these great tracks. You always have to commend what Rick Ross and Justice League are able to put together. Then lastly, I want to talk about Maybach Music 3 with Jadakiss and T.I. and Erykah Badu. A unique mix, but it always works. Jadakiss, very underrated rapper. You know how I feel about T.I. He's in my top 10. Erykah Badu, one of the greatest neo soul R&B singers of all time. But that importance of Maybach music on his albums, his first album, Port of Miami, didn't have the Maybach music song on it, but after that he started to put it on there and it was just great music. I always go to the Maybach music songs first to hear those because it's always great productions, legendary production, and great lyricism as well. One of my favorite Maybach musics is the one with him and Dej Loaf. Very unique sound. I love Dej Loaf's artistry. I don't feel like she get her just due. She came out with that major hit and then, started to hit a drop off. So most people counted her out, but she's still a very great artist as well. But Rick Ross, like I said, this album was a chef's kiss. One of his best album, I think, but one of the, you have to probably put this album in the probably top 50 of all time in hip hop. Very great music, great production as well. And it wasn't a lengthy project. It was only 11 songs, kept it short and sweet. But if you haven't heard the album, check it out. And as always, until next time, I'll see you next time.